I'm fighting for the same position with people that have much more experience than me, and I'm there on the same level without the experience, right? But still, I was not able to get the job, so I decided to go for an internship in a company which is called RiteKit. They do optimization for social media. And it was a 3-month internship. It wasn't paid. I say, yeah, I'm going to work for these guys. I'm paid for 3 months just to get experience and to fix the problem I'm having, right? Because it's an investment in myself. And what I'm doing with them is I'm actually leading the team. There are 4 more interns that I'm taking care about. One fifth one is starting this week. Another one is starting next week. I'm defining tasks for them, assigning the tasks, planning, defining best practices, code, architecture, user experience, everything.
I was really fascinated by RiteTag at the time. Originally, what they were doing was just hashtags. And at the time, hashtags were amazing. They were blowing up. Everyone was using on Twitter, and RiteTag has had amazing traction. I saw a lot of potential. I saw that they were getting a crazy number of users and so much growth month over month. And I wanted to be a part of that. And it was amazing. As soon as I got in there, anything that I did was used by so many people. So many people. It was kind of fun and nerve-wracking at the same time. And the fact that it was remote was really cool because I was back in Champaign with my girlfriend there, and it was nice to be able to work on a cool startup without leaving the small town.
Even with tasks, when I don't get a task, the first task I took was archiving posts in RitePush, and I was struggling a lot with the code, and this was the point when I was like, should I ask Michal or should I not ask Michal, and should I just keep struggling till I reach the solution? And no, he was so friendly, so he's the main one who made me succeed.
Tell us about 1 or 2 really frustrating or difficult tasks.
The most struggling task I took was reordering posts, drag and drop. This task was so difficult because all the libraries, they work with all the items, but we didn't want this. We want to drag and drop and reorder only the slotted posts. So there are posts that you put them to be posted in a specific date and time, and there are posts that put through the slots in the queue. So we only want to reorder these posts, so I had to modify the library itself. So this one was so difficult. Especially for new interns, I feel like I will help them a lot because I struggled a lot to get into this company. So I think I will be so helpful to new interns. And Michal taught me very well how to handle people who are struggling with tasks. So yeah, I feel like if the company is getting bigger, I feel like I will take a very good position. I'll be responsible for some junior developers, probably. I just hope.
When we had this idea to make like a custom keyboard for the phones where you could search for a hashtag and immediately get like stats and images and GIFs for it, we realized that we need to make like native apps for iOS and Android. So that's when I kind of sat down, talked with Saul and Michal, and realized that, yeah, we need like a small cohort here to make this a reality. And that's kind of what happened.
So they just like saw this fire in you, like for innovation, and were like, let's give them a new position and let's create it, right?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, the Chrome extension was in a good place. There wasn't as many new features that we were working on. Paul was working on the back end. So when we had this idea, I talked with Michal a lot, and I think he really loved it. Took some convincing to get Saul on board. And then we realized that, yeah, this is a cool idea. There's enough time. not as many fires to put out on the web. So yeah, let's do it.
Do you remember like Saul's objections, like why it took some convincing?
It was mostly because we had the Chrome extension, and that was an amazing feature. There were still some things in the backlog that needed to be done. So that was Saul's #1 priority. And this was such a big unknown. Like, custom keyboards weren't a thing like a year ago. We started toying with the idea. We talked about it to a bunch of customers and just put it out there. And it seemed like people were reacting really positively. So we said, yeah, let's try it out.
Can you tell us about the logic behind learning and setting up the posting schedule for a social profile that a RiteForge user adds?
Basically, what we will do is when a user wants to add a profile, I will just retrieve the past 30 days, all the posts the user made, and I will take the average number of posts per day of week. For example, I will see for the past 4 Mondays how many posts the user made. So if he made like 20 posts on Mondays, so it will be like 20 divided by 4, it's 5 posts each Monday. So this is how I will calculate how many posts per Monday. And I will have to allocate each post to a slot. So I have to create 5 slots on Mondays. And for each slot, I will take the average of time for the first post he made on Monday. If he's connecting a Facebook account, I will go see the past 30 days in his account, all the posts he made in the past 30 days. And based on these timings, I will calculate an average for the slots I want to put.
What can you say about the people you worked with, and especially Pavel, Ahmed, and Michal?
I will start with Ahmed. So that's why I hope to be a senior someday. I will be really happy to continue working with RiteTag. Ahmed helped me a lot at the beginning, especially. He was just like relieving a lot of stress out of me because I was so stressed. First time to deal with foreigners and first time to do professional work. And he was very helpful at the beginning. And Pavel is like the secret agent of RiteTag. He really works in silence, total silence. You will never know anything about him. He's just working, and suddenly you will find the feature done, and the code is ready, and it's live, and everything is settled. He writes very clean code, and I do learn from him a lot. Especially recently, he cleaned the code. He rewrote the whole system from scratch. And Michal is the one who is always there for you. Like he's always online. He's always answering your question, and he is always helping you not to feel uncomfortable. Like, I'm never shy when I'm talking with Michal, never. And when I have any question, I just go and ask him. He's very cool, he's very nice. And he's very experienced and he knows how to handle everything.
What did Michal do to ensure that you benefited from your experience?
I don't know, there's an interesting dynamic between Saul and Michal, especially those two, because Michal is the analytical voice of RiteTag, and Saul is the people person and thinks about how the rest of the team is doing and how people are perceiving our product and how the team is getting along. So it was really interesting to see that develop. And as I got to know them better and meet Michal when he came here to SF, it was really interesting learning from them and watching, getting to know them more closely. And of course, there's like all the other interns. There have been a lot of amazing interns, but a lot of frustration too, because that's just how what you experience at a startup. It's it's not all highs. There's a lot of ups and downs, and I don't know, just you learn a lot by seeing a lot of different kinds of people and interacting with a lot of different kinds of people, and trying to manage everyone that you're working with, and trying to get the best out of everyone that you're working with.
There was a time when you had people all in the same room with you.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Definitely. I mean, as I started working on the custom keyboard, I realized that at the time I was a partner at RiteKit, so I was all in. I was working full time, and there was no reason to not find people in the same place as I was, because you can work well remotely, but for some things, especially when you don't know quite what you're doing, because what we were building was a new product. It needed a little more focus and a little more teamwork. So I worked with Saul to build up a team here, or rather there at my school in Champaign. We went through a lot of candidates. It was surprising how many people wanted to work for RiteKit at the time. I was actually blown away. There were, I think, 40 people trying to apply for 2 positions. I was trying to find an Android intern and an iOS intern. So with like the sheer number of people that were applying and really wanted it, I ended up getting 2 for Android and 2 for iOS.
I like sharing knowledge. I just don't like getting knowledge from someone and not even sharing it with any other juniors or something.
During my time at RiteKit, I was a PR and marketing intern. It was the second half of my first year of college. So I was very green, very fresh, no idea what I was doing, honestly, and Saul really kind of took a leap of faith and gave me a chance. And I was just able to learn so much. I was doing community management through messaging people, helping out whenever I could, whenever they were running into troubles using the product, and just creating live original content for our blog, and then also doing an internal newsletter called the Right Times, which kind of kept everyone on the same page, which was a little difficult at the time, everyone being everywhere in the world. And it was just a really great internship experience that I was really happy to have under my belt.
Up to date. I got to manage a big team, got to coordinate 4 really brilliant people that, I don't know, could have done just about anything else, but they were like, oh, this is really cool. I want to work at a startup. I want to work with a big team. I want to work
Can you
day and
call
night.
their names, like all their names?
Yeah. There was Shaker and Oscar who were on the iOS team, and Joju Niao and Kyle that were on the Android team. It was kind of an interesting dynamic. The iOS team was younger. The Android team was in their, I would want to say, senior year, both of them, and they were more analytical and wanted to learn machine learning and Android development and a bunch of other things like that, which is kind of why I picked the team as I did, to try to make everyone fit well together. It was amazing.
I was extremely excited. Like, that's something I had been working towards. I always just used to mess around with my own little website projects that I had, building random things. And then I got started on this, and I was super excited. Just that feeling of, oh, I'm working on this awesome thing that I know is going to be huge. And
Like, was this the first time that you were working with a team?
yeah, the first time working on a huge project as well.
It was a lot to learn, and I looked to Saul to try to figure out how to get the most out of the people that you're working with, because at least the iOS guys, they were a little younger and easily distracted, and it was challenging to kind of set goals and get a solid product out there. And we still face challenges toward the end of the internship, but Saul was always there, giving guidance and help whenever I needed it, and it was great.
So right now I'm looking to do the creative side of advertising, which is where I'm working at now for my summer internship currently. And just RiteTag was able to give me so much foundation and kind of give me this really cool experience. I think a lot of employers really look for internships at startups just because of the environment and the culture that is a startup. And it just really allows students and whoever really to get a bunch of experience about all these different things and just meet all these really cool and like-minded people that are entrepreneurial, that are willing to get their hands dirty and just really dig into projects, because that's what startups need.
It's funny, like working with a startup has really been eye-opening for me. Like my mom, she keeps asking, have you checked the Better Business Bureau to check if this thing is really legit? And I'm like, it's not really like that kind of thing, Mom. But I think that there are a lot of people who really don't know about the culture of startups and how just like being a part of a team that's got a dream can really contribute to so much of the experience that builds character in today's very different business world. And it's like the more interviews I conduct and the deeper I immerse myself in the SaaS world, I am constantly being met with this running theme as I listen to persons who have put in the time to work with a startup. Employers and hiring managers really do appreciate the kind of skills that people like us acquire.
Yeah, I think it's still pretty new, and just people don't really understand that how scrappy kind of the environment is and how hardworking that you need to be. It's not your usual 9 to 5. Like I remember being on calls with Saul, like when it was daytime in Japan, and like I just finished like bussing tables at night here in New York. So it was super scrappy, worked hard whenever you needed to be working on something, and just really got your hands dirty like in every aspect of the business, which was so amazing, and just a really valuable experience that really pushed me to kind of figure out what I wanted to do, even though it wasn't exactly what I was doing at RiteTag.
So you mentioned joining Saul in calls during his daytime in Japan. How supported did you feel by him and other team members to meet you in your space and time?
Saul was always like very accommodating. We had set times where we know we were going to meet, and it was kind of like in the middle and a good time for everyone, which somehow works amazingly. I don't really know how, but people definitely made sacrifices to kind of accommodate other people, and it's so great because it's like a family. It's super small, very close knit. It's not like giant, huge. You don't know the people that you're working with. Like you see them every week at least, and you're talking to them online like constantly. So it's really cool.
What was it like working with Michal?
Working with Michal was very natural, because I think in terms of how I think a lot more like Michal than I do Saul, because I'm an engineer. I like to think analytically, and I naturally gravitated to Michal's way of thinking, thinking about what's the most important feature that we have right now, what kind of priorities that we have, how much time each thing will take, thinking about deadlines, thinking about features, how that impacts other features, and trying to make everything simple and having it not be so error prone, because if you have a lot of people working in a distributed team, you need to make sure that the things that they're working on will be stable and won't keep breaking all the time, because some guy in India is working on one feature and some guy in Europe is working on some other feature, and they need to understand how the overall like application works to do their own part. So that's something that I learned a lot from Michal. I wanted to learn more, and I wanted to look for an opportunity. And RiteTag, I just got fortunate to work with RiteTag. They just said, all right, we need some of the coding skills that you probably have, but we need it on the web development side, so you might have to learn new stuff. And I was totally willing for it. And then I learned new stuff, and that actually helped me learning the basic skills that are required for web development. And that's probably the reason why I could actually score at my current job, and I could get the job.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. Firstly, RiteTag, even though we were working remotely, like I was in New York, another developer was in Illinois, Chicago, and another developer was back in India, and Seoul in Japan, and Mihal in Czech Republic, and even Pavel, he was also there in Czech Republic. So even though we were all separated, but the way we worked was very, very professional. I wouldn't say professional as in like talking professional, but it was like the way a software development stack should be working, how you code and how you submit your code and how your code gets checked, how they confirm that, yes, this is good and this could go live. That was totally professional. Like, I guess that was one of the things that when I was explaining to them how we actually work, they kind of liked it, that even though we were pretty far away, it was a totally new startup. The way they were working, the way we tested the code was pretty good. And I guess that was one of the things that actually impressed them a lot. And thanks to Saul and Mihal and Pavel for checking and merging my codes and probably correcting me when I was wrong and helping me learn. Apart from that, they were very helpful. Like, moreover, whenever I had an issue or anything, they were pretty open. Though time differences were a little problem. Like, I used to reply in the night and used to get an early morning response. But then I had to plan that, all right, I need help with this, so I'll probably keep this for the end and then start working on something else. But the good part was, like, you got live tutorials rather than just answering your questions online. Mihal would probably, I just used to tell him that, all right, can we have a quick call? And he just called me back and explained me how things are. And same with Saul. And Saul used to do that a lot. And so we used to get together and have some quick hangout chats and stuff. So it was pretty fun. It was good. At a company like RiteTag, I think it's a little easier because RiteTag is a little older. And when I was with RiteTag, the products were established, and we knew how it should function, what our users wanted, and the new team members could kind of pick and choose different things to work on. Whereas like at a new startup, like my current job, it's really hard because we don't even know what to build.
So do you feel then that like the things that you learned, your experiences with RiteTag were like are a help to you in this Wild West that you're in right now, San Francisco, with your startup that you're working at right now?
Oh my God, RiteTag was an incredible experience. I mean, that's the whole reason I was able to come out here and work with an amazing team that I'm doing right now. It's like if I hadn't had that. So I think what RiteTag did for me was to give me a boost like 2 to 3 times as I would have gotten if I just went to a normal job straight out of college. Both in terms of the amount of things that I got to do, all the program experience that I got, the leadership experience that I got, and the management skills that I got, like the team building, the coordination and leadership skills that I got, which it's really, really hard to get that at any other company, especially larger corporations. I mean, yeah, you're pigeonholed into one tiny area, and growth is a lot harder. Depending on where you go, and depending on whether the person that you're interviewing for is technical or non-technical, they can either, if they're non-technical, they want to see that you have done something impressive. And with RiteTag, the amount of freedom that I was given and the amount of leadership opportunities that I was given, that was really easy to show. I was able to do so much more than most people who graduated at the same time as I did were able to at wherever larger company that they were. And I also got to interview for with a lot of technical interviewees, and it was easy in those interviews too to show how much I'd learned at RiteTag, both in web and mobile, understanding how browsers work, understanding how networking works. It was, yeah, the experience was invaluable.
So what kind of things that you worked on at RiteTag helped you with your new job?
So the things that I worked on RiteTag was web for half the time, and then mobile for the other half. And I loved a lot of parts of both, and which is why when I was trying to look for a new job, I really wanted to move into the mobile web, which is the combination of both, best of both worlds, where you get the speed of developing for the web and you get like the fluidity that you have in mobile apps. So I found this startup that wanted a really fast prototype, or like a prototype that we could make really fast and that worked really fluidly on both platforms. And I went to them and I built them a hybrid app that worked really well on both iOS and Android in like about a week, which was incredible because it was because of how easy it was to develop for the web. And yeah, I think it was everything, all the experimentation that I'd done at RiteTag that allowed me to do that.
So they were really interested in the work that you did with RiteTag. How much do you think that influenced their decision to take you on to their team?
I think that influenced them 100%. All I had to show was, or rather, all I needed to show them was RiteTag, and then they were like, "Okay, that's awesome. You're hired."
Wow, that's pretty incredible. Really.
I joined RiteTag in the summer in 2015, and my position was Android development intern. Before joining RiteTag, I had literally no experience on mobile development. So RiteTag, working in RiteTag is a very fresh and new experience to me. I have picked up extensive Android development skill during the intern. So what I did was to build an app that allows users to schedule tweets and using the hashtags provided by RiteTag, and also be able to search for photos and GIFs that is relative to the tweets that the users input. So my main job was to develop the front end of the app to make it look smooth, looking nice, and a little bit about the back end, such as requesting data from the server.
So one of the next jobs that I had after RiteTag was for an office furniture company in New York, and it's a small-ish, like medium-sized family-owned business, and they were looking to increase their online web presence and create original content. So I read the job description. I was like, that's kind of what I did at RiteTag, and like all the background knowledge that Saul gave me. He was the one who really pushed me to learning SEO and SEM. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what I'll use this for. But turns out it was the main reason I got that job. And I was able to kind of revamp their website with the help of a few freelancers and just really kind of increase sales. I saw like statistical results, which is amazing, like business driven results. And it was just really great because I was able to use everything, literally everything that I learned at RiteTag and kind of translate that into the next thing. One of the proudest things was Saul like pushing me to do SEO. I was able to take that website and push it to like the first page, the fifth result in Google when you searched for it. We'll search for like office furniture in New York City without using paid, which was something that my manager at the time wanted me to do. So
Wow, so organic SEO versus paid. Good job.
yeah, scrubbing the site, doing everything I could to kind of just bump us up and do everything right for Google. Yeah, it was really exciting. I guess it was something that was super important in the early days. I learned a lot under Saul. It definitely wasn't me for the most part. Yeah, it definitely wasn't me.
I set out to restructure a lot of the code and rethink how things are put together in the back end. That is, like, I started restructuring the code and then handed it back to Pavel to finish, because shortly after that I left to finish school and focus on other things.
So like you initiated the restructuring and then Pavel like used like your concept, right? And like built upon it. Like that's really neat.
Yeah, and from what I understand, from what Saul tells me, it's really helped allow more people to work on RiteTag after the restructuring. So that's really awesome to know.
RiteTag definitely helped on job searching when I'm finding more internships and full-time positions. When you put your experience from RiteTag on your resume, like I did, usually when the employers ask about your experience in RiteTag, like what you did there, they're usually very fascinated because it is a startup, and when the employers hear that you are working in a startup, they already expected that you learned a lot in the startup because there isn't a lot of support. The team is usually small, so you got to learn a lot, and these people are usually more skillful. I guess that's what they would usually think about when they hear what I did in RiteTag, and they were usually their expression are usually very nice.
When I started RiteTag, I just had one thing that was like I could work really hard. I really wanted to. I really enjoyed working hard. And the next one was like I want to be that who knows probably everything. So for that was the thing that I wanted to get experience about, like how actually things work in a real-time company, and how could I make a mark in that company so that I could learn and get as much as I can. And this is like an opportunity. Like I would consider as myself lucky to be a part of RiteTag, and it just came to me at the right time, at the right place, and I just wanted to make the max use out of it.
One thing that I've taken away is like I'm always like kind of rooting for the people that I knew like when I was at RiteTag at the time. Like if I see them on LinkedIn, they got a new job or they got like promotion, I'm always like, oh cool, that's awesome. Like I'm really glad, I'm really happy for that person. So it's really exciting to kind of just be a part of this community that's like continually growing. The first meeting that I had with Saul and a few of the other interns, I kept quiet the whole time and they were just talking about all these things that were going on, and I had this notepad in my lap and I was writing down all the words I didn't know, and for like an hour after the meeting I was just Googling like crazy all of these words like SEO, SEM. I was a freshman. I was being like thrown into the water, and there's things that were so valuable to me later on that really helped me nail interviews and like land jobs.
We make decisions together instead of we're doing what someone told us to do. So we were literally in charge of that we were developing. So it was really nice and very fun.
It gives you probably a very good boost. It makes you feel happier that yes, what you did, they actually considered it, and actually I can be proud of it. That yes, I did work, and the CEO of the company kind of recommended me, and it just feels nice. When Pop Sugar had my interview, they were focused on what the candidate knew and how did he manage, how did he work with the previous company. And I guess the way RiteTag did their work was the perfect way they could expect a remotely working employee to be doing that stuff. So I guess things just worked out, and moreover, like RiteTag is a pretty proud thing to tell about, because RiteTag is doing awesome stuff, and once you tell them about it, everyone's like, whoa, that is something pretty interesting.
Just a really great experience where I got to kind of grow as a person and just really learn to work with others and be an entrepreneur and push myself and always kind of try to be the best and ask questions and figure out why we're doing things and what's working, what's not working. It was a really amazing experience. I recommend it to anyone who has the opportunity. You'll learn a lot. Just ask questions and bother Saul all the time with questions.
I think to develop something that people can use every day is very rewarding.
Like, we're all still a team, right? The people of RiteTag.
Yeah, Shashank, he's also in San Francisco. He's again working for another startup, and he's doing pretty good. And we just met. So the thing is, like, RiteTag even helped me in like getting together. And I just got up with Karun. He's a genius, I would say. He was a brilliant child. He just got an internship with Google. And I don't know if I should be saying this, but I just got up with him, and it's always to talk to old friends. But Shashank's been like, met Shashank. This is the only one who I met. Other than that, I've talked to a few only on Hangouts, and I just keep in touch with Saul. Like, I just, whenever I get a RiteTag email and it's doing pretty cool stuff, I'll just reply, "Oh, Saul, that's totally cool."
It takes a lot to keep a team that's all over the world together. It takes more than an internal newsletter, for sure. And just Saul's like energy and his passion for the product and for RiteTag and the community around it was just really a huge motivational factor for me. And it was something that I would continue to look for in leadership at the jobs and internships that I apply to in the future. Like, I always want to be under the leadership of someone who will continually try to make me perform the best I can and make me create the best content that I can, and also giving me the tools to enable me to do that. So it's something I definitely noticed. And the culture of RiteTag is unlike anything that I've worked with before or since, just because we're not together physically, but just able to work together as a team and to really be on the same page, which is something that's crazy. I mean, it's tough to get people into a conference room together now, or even just like kind of schedule meetings and figure out time with someone like one-on-one in person. If I wanted to meet up with someone from school or something, it's so hard to schedule that time. But at RiteTag, it was always pretty easy, and just kind of like sending someone a message, "Hey, I need like 15 minutes right now, or tonight, later, if you have time." It was something that was always really cool, like a really close-knit community.
This is already an unpaid internship. You are gaining the experience by yourself, and if you don't put your effort in it, then it is a waste of time. I liked it because it did help me on my other job searching, my another intern and full-time job. It did help a lot.
What's your advice to those about to start with us on how to leave a lasting mark on RiteTag? Something they can show prospective employers for years to come.
Spend more time to understand the product before developing it, or when you were developing it, because I don't think I spent a lot of time understanding the product, but just started the developing job right away.
How would you suggest that people go about learning?
Of course, the best way would be to talk to Saul. He'll have a lot more descriptions and insights about what he does and what the company does, or what directions the company is moving forward to. And also research something more about RiteTag.
What advice would you have for someone who wants to start with us, get a huge amount of experience, and leave a lasting mark on RiteTag, something that they can show players for years to come?
The most important thing in this company is communication. don't just struggle alone in a task and not speak out. Michal is always reachable at any time and for every day. Struggling in something will teach you, of course, but at some point you need to ask, because you're spending a lot of time doing nothing, just struggling. So when you are really struggling, just go reach Michal and ask for help. He will help you, definitely. Do your best and try to have an effective role in RiteKit. Try to add something, because this is the only way to get into this company and get a job offer.
Thank you so much for spending time answering these questions. It's going to be super helpful. One final question. A lot of people intern with RiteKit, but just a few are asked to actually join the team. Can you give advice to someone who is hoping for a job offer from us at the end of their internship? Tell them what they need to do.
Okay, you need to do the very best of you. You need to add something to RiteKit, because they will sure consider you if you add something to RiteKit. So just do your best and try to make something big.